Hello! It's another beautiful day in the Sonoran Desert. Although I have to report, yes, we still have the fires. And from my house, which is not in Tucson, I'm about 1,000 feet higher. When I look into the valley, I can see this. It looks like a huge cloud, but that's actually the smoke. So, all the good wishes you're sending us, we can appreciate it, and thank you so much. But here we have another one of my wonderful stories. Somebody called me yesterday and said, "Oh, they're wonderful, wonderful." So I think that's what I'm going to start saying now. This story is called Jacqueline. So one day on a Sunday, my mother said, "Oh, Papa has a surprise. He is going to go somewhere to see one of his friends. So I need to do something special with your hair." So she braided part of my hair like she used to like to do and put a ribbon in it, put it on top of my head. And I got to wear my very best dress. So Papa and I took off on an excursion. We went across the river on the little ferry boat and walking down like maybe, well, it's not walking down, it's walking up the hill to where the rich people lived. There was a row of homes that were about less than half a mile away from the river. These were all beautiful Victorian row houses. They were all built like in the 1800s. And back in those days, these homes had basically 3 floors. But when you came up to one of these beautiful homes, you either had to go up the steps to the front door or down the steps to where the servants lived. And the servants lived on the lower level, which usually had a walk out on the other side. And that's where the kitchen was. And that's where the servants lived. They did the washing and everything down there. But to get to the front door of the home, you had to walk up. So one of these homes they were all very pretty, but this one I particularly liked because it had a lot of ornaments on it all around the windows. It was all carved. It was just gorgeous. And what was typical for those homes, when you came to the front door, there was a big glass door, and then there was like a tiny little hallway, and then there was another door. And that was typical for these homes. But both of these had glass. And when we went up to the front door, my dad rang the doorbell. And after a few moments, this very elegant gentleman showed up at the door. And I'd never seen anybody like that. He had on some kind of a uniform, but it was all black and white, but I didn't know what that was. I found out later that was the butler, but I did not know when I first saw him. So when he opened the door, he said, "Oh, please, come on in. And oh, how wonderful, you brought the little one. Oh, aren't you adorable? And what's your name?" And I said, "Oh, my name is Aranka." And he said, "Well, I'm Joseph. I'm the butler." I didn't know what that meant, but I didn't want to say, "What is a butler?" So I waited and asked my dad later. So he had us come in and he said, "Oh, please come on into the parlor." Oh my God, I had never seen anything like this. First of all, there were like 14-foot ceilings, and everything in that room was white, gold, and pink. All the furniture was white and gold, where these huge velvet pink curtains, and they had a fringe on it, and there was like a gold rope that pulled them back. I was just over the moon. I didn't know where to look first. The sofa was a beautiful, I really shouldn't call it pink, it was like more like a dusty rose. The sofa was like a dusty rose velvet, and had all these huge pillows on it with gold fringe or lace, and I didn't know where to look first. There was also a pedestal that was taller than I was, with a beautiful statue of a naked lady. And she was like at least 2 feet standing there, you know, like this, and I I didn't know where to look first. Then a very pretty young woman came. She had on a black dress, but there was a white apron. I hadn't seen any of this. And it had a ruffle around it, and it was pinned up here. And she said, "Oh, please have a seat. May I bring you something? Madame will be with you shortly." Okay, so like I'm trying to take in all of this. It was like out of some kind of a different kind of fairy tale. I was enamored with everything in this room, and it smelled good. There were flowers on several tables, and then I could peek into the next room. There was a huge dining room. It had a ginormous chandelier, and there was this biggest flower arrangement I'd ever seen on the table, and a big lace tablecloth, and I was just transported into like a whole different universe. And then showed up Jacqueline. Oh, my heart be still. I can still see her now. She was very petite. She was maybe like the size of my French grandmother, 5'1", maybe. Just this teensy-weensy little person. She had on 5-inch heels. They were leather with a big leather flower. And she had on this silk robe with these big sleeves. I'd never seen anything like it. It was sort of like a take on a kimono. And it was pink with green and gold embroidery on it. It had big dragons on it. And she came in, she said, "Oh, mon chéri." And I thought, wow, such a little person. How can she have such a big smile and such a big hug? When she turned around, I almost fell off my little chair. She had the most incredible hair I had ever seen. It looked like spun gold. It was below her waist, this beautiful, beautiful yellow gold color. And the bottoms of it, obviously somebody had taken it and made it into these corkscrew curls. My heart was just, I didn't even know what to say. So I got up and I just stood there because I thought, wow, is she an angel? She had bright red lips and she had bright red toenails. And these shoes were unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it. They were like platforms with these huge heels, like big sandals, and everything was just over-the-top color. You know, bright red lips, bright red fingernails. Everything was gold and white and pink, and I'm going, wow. So my father introduced me, and he said, "Jacqueline, this is my little girl." And she came over and she said, "Oh, aren't you adorable?" She spoke German with this very heavy accent. And she said, "Please, you will stay here." So then the next thing I know, my father and Jacqueline sort of go off to the other room. And that's when the butler shows up and he says, "Oh, you're going to stay with me now because they have business to attend to." Yeah, right, business. I was a little kid. I didn't know this was my father's mistress. We were poor. How could he? And anyway, I was way too small to even comprehend something like that. But anyway, the butler said that, he had made hot chocolate and he had whipped cream, and we were going to go out on the balcony because we were going to sit out there and we could see the streetcar go by and the cars. And then he said, "Oh, and then I have a really big surprise. You come on out here and you sit down, but I have to get Henri." And I thought, Henri, that's my dad's name. What is he talking about? And he came back with, I still don't know exactly what that was. It might have been a Shih Tzu, but whatever it was not as big as a bread box. It had very, very long hair, and he carried it in, and it had a pink ribbon up on top of its head. And my heart was just, someday I will have a dog like that. And I want to look like Jacqueline, and I want to have a house like this. Those 14-foot ceilings alone I just thought that was the most remarkable thing I'd ever seen. Well, so I was on the balcony with the butler, and we played some games, and then eventually she came out and she said, "Oh, you can come in now." So we came in, and I got to sit down in the salon with her and my dad, and they were talking about, well, no, I'm very happy with the way things are, and this is the way we should leave it. And obviously, now that I have met the little one, that would never work. Of course, I had no idea what they were talking about. Years later, when I was older, I figured out what was going on. Yes, that was my father's girlfriend, and she obviously made her money by entertaining gentlemen. However, my dad was actually her boyfriend. So she was never charging him because he wouldn't have had any money to pay her. And what they had discussed is that she would buy a house in the country, and that my father would leave my mom and live with her. But he didn't want to leave my mother unless he could take me. And that's what they had been talking about. And they figured that, oh, a butterfly, that was pretty. They just decided that he could not do that to my mom. It was bad enough if he was just going to leave because she wouldn't divorce him anyway. But then he would have to kidnap me. And Jacqueline said, "Look, I love that little girl. I've never seen her before, but you can't do that to your wife. So we need to just keep things the way they are. Just leave it. You're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend. You know how I make a living, and you don't care. But we can't make this into anything permanent because that's just wrong. We can't kidnap that little girl." So when we left, my dad said, "Did you like her?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I love her. She's so sweet, and the house smells so good. Every room you go, it smells like flowers. And you know what? Did you know that when I held her hand, well, actually, she held my hand, her skin is so soft. It's soft like my kitty. I really, really like her. And you know what? She took me into her boudoir, and I got to brush her hair. She sat down and she said, 'Would you like me to put some lipstick on?' And she said, I can do that." And I said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think my mommy would like it if I come home with lipstick. She says that's only for bad girls." And she started laughing. She said, "Then, well, look at me. What do you think? Do you think I'm a bad girl?" And I said, "Oh, no, you're not a bad girl. I can tell that you're a really nice person. And besides, you look like an angel. So there's no way that you can be a bad girl. Even though I have bright red fingernails and bright red toenails." And I thought about that for a minute, and I said, "Well, if that's bad, I don't know then what's going to happen, because I think that when I'm big, I would like to look like you. Of course, I will never have beautiful blonde hair like that, but I could wear bright red lipstick, and I could have bright red toenails and fingernails. I like it. I think it's very, very pretty. It looks like some of my flowers. So I think that I should really like to do that. But I have to tell you a secret. You know what my Hungarian grandmother said? She said, "No, tell me, whisper if it's a secret. Because I've been saying that I would really, really like some bright red shoes. And I was hoping that I get a care package from America with bright red shoes." And my Hungarian grandmother said, "Oh, no, you never wear bright red shoes. No, that's for very bad girls. Only very, very bad girls can wear red shoes, and don't you ever wear red shoes." So I said, when I'm big, I think I'm going to get bright red shoes, because I don't know why they're bad. And I said, "You had on red shoes. You still have on red shoes." She said, well, yes, so we have something in common. You like bright colors, and I do too. And I bet you like my earrings. And oh, I just would like to interject something. I am a pirate today, just in case you hadn't noticed. I have one earring. This one here kept falling out. So I am just a girl pirate today with only one earring. Anyway, Jacqueline said, you know, when you grow up, you just do whatever you want. And I think that you'll just look perfect. And maybe when you grow up, you and I can go to Paris together, and then we'll both wear red shoes, and we have red lips, and we have red fingernails and toenails. And I said, oh, I would like that, but can we please bring the dog? And she said, yes, we will also bring the dog. So I said, Papa, I really like her. I had a very long talk, and can we come back here? And my dad said, yes, we can, but you have to make me a promise. I said, okay. He said, this, that we came here, it's a secret. You can't tell anybody. So you have to tell a white fib. And I said, you mean a lie? And I said, no. He said, no, we're going to call it a fib, because that doesn't sound so bad. Don't tell anybody that we came to see Jacqueline. You can say, though, we went to see Papa's friend. And if they ask more, then you say, yeah, the friend's name was Jacques. And I said, oh, okay. And why do I need to do that? And he said, well, it's sort of like this. She's my girlfriend. And since I'm married to your mother, theoretically, I'm not supposed to have a girlfriend. And I said, well, why not? Can't you have a wife and a girlfriend? And he said, well, I think so. And 99% of all French men think so. So it's probably true, but generally speaking, no. And I do know that if your mother would know that I have a girlfriend, she would get very hurt. And I said, oh, we can't have that. Then I will never tell her. I will just say that was this really nice name, this man named Jack. Or Jack, is it Jack? And he said, yes, not Jack. Where are you learning those words, Jack? No, it's Jacques. And I said, okay, Papa, it's my big secret. And he hugged me and he said, you know how much I love you this very minute? Yeah, you're my little girl. Patted me on the head, he gave me a kiss, and he said, okay, let's go home. That's my story for today. Thank you, I love you.